Lucio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So we are Launchpad. We are developing the technology, which is hardware, software, and AI for autonomous manufacturing. And so just some quick definitions. When I say autonomous manufacturing, what I'm talking about is automation. So machines doing work to build things instead of humans doing work to build things, but automation that doesn't need to be programmed, automation that learns what it needs to do by itself. And our customers are both small and medium companies. These are companies that want to build products, don't want to build their own factory, want somebody else to do it for them and do it quickly and using machines. Or large companies or very large companies that want to have our technology, use our technology in their own factories. And our vision, our mission, everything that drives us is to be able to invent and deploy the technology so that we can build products locally, so we don't have to take everything offshore. So next slide, please. I've said us a few times, and it's just me talking, but just to give you an idea of who I mean by us. So you've got myself. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I sold my last company, which was a green energy company, to one of the largest utilities in the world. Bill Gross from Idea Lab is my co-founder. I've worked with Bill for a while now. He's launched hundreds of companies. I think at last count 9 unicorns, and we work out of his space. He's absolutely great. And then Offer, our CTO, Offer was the VP of Global Automation for Flex, which is one of the largest manufacturing companies in the world. So that's who I mean by we. Next slide. So this is actually seems complex. This is an incredibly simplified and sort of the Socratic perfect view of what it takes to build a product today. It's very hard, very, very difficult, multiple steps and processes, even if you're working with just one supplier. It takes months. It actually takes months just to start an engagement, let alone to get a product in your hand, which typically takes anywhere from 3 months if you're excellent at it, up to 2 years if you're not so excellent at it. The process is incredibly manual, both in terms of the information that gets exchanged, the decisions that are made, and then the actual work at the end of it. A lot of products are still components and are made and assembled by human hands. So we think that's out of date, and that's what we want to solve by bringing technology to it. Next slide. And the next slide. So the way we look at it is really as a holistic process, starting from the customer to the product design and onwards. And if we go to the next slide, what we're really doing is we're bringing our technology to touch every part of this cycle. And our technology is the AI, the hardware, and the simulation software. And if we go to the next slide, I'll very quickly touch on 3 areas and show you guys what that looks like. We've got the names over here, but I'll go through them one by one. So if we go to the next slide, the heart of our product and the service to the customer is our app. And so what this does is, instead of the current process, which is a super manual exchange of information, search, procurement, we have an app. You go to our app, you sign up an account, you upload the CAD file of your product, and pretty much every product in the world today works with CAD files. You upload the CAD file, and our system automatically analyzes every component of the product, figures out the assembly sequence, how the product needs to come together, figures out the tools that need to be used to make those happen, literally by identifying things like screws need a screwdriver of this type. This component is made of metal, and that metal needs to be machined and can be machined using these machines. This plastic component can be 3D printed or injection molded, and so on and so on and so on. It figures out the production line to bring all these components into the final product as well. And all of this is done in real time, and all of this is done with live connections to various suppliers in our chain. And I can talk about that later. It works with custom components, it works with standard components, it works with electronics, and it works with pretty much every tool that you could possibly use to bring the product together. So that's the first step. The next slide, please. The next step is actually doing...
30-second warning. 30-second warning.
So the second part of this is the machine that we've designed. We call this the DigiTool. This is the machine that actually assembles the product out of its components. We have 10 of these that have been built and are operating today. The machine doesn't need to be programmed. Everything the machine does It learns in the simulation software, and all the instructions are transferred to the real world using machine vision. The idea is that you link these together to produce any production line you need. Next slide. Altogether, what that means is we can set up the production line, we can set up the procurement and everything else to bring the quoting down to instant instead of taking a few weeks to a couple of months. And we can deliver products to our customers' hands in a few weeks instead of 6 months or more. Next slide. Without going into too much detail on this, because I'm out of time, we work with companies on the production. We also work with companies on designing products to make them better for automation, and lease out software to do that as well. So that's it. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you all. Open up the floor to questions. Rosie, do you have a question?
Yes. What are the current traction that you have at this point?
We've got about half a dozen customers using us to make products. And we have one very large customer who's buying machines from us, machines and software and simulation. We're a fairly new company. We were founded in 2020 and really only scaled up in the last year.
Good. One question in the chat was, what's the ask, Joe?
If anyone has a product they want to build or knows anyone that wants to build a product, please come to our website, create an account, upload it. We'll build you the product in a way you've never seen before. If anyone wants to buy automation equipment, I'd love to hear from them as well. And we would really love to do some work with defense and other government. We think that made in the US can only happen if we use automation, and this is the best way to do it. So anyone that has a requirement for that, I'd love to get in touch with them.
Awesome. And that's product ready today, or that's something that needs some further development?
No, the machines exist, the software exists, we're building products, we're ready for it today. Not to build the next iPhone, mind you, there's limitations, which if I had another minute, I'd tell you about, but we can do an awful lot today.
Amazing.